Salam, ciao, bonjour, namaste.
Bienvenidos! Hey, my name is Gently. This is Reading with Your Kids. We're beaming out to you in the entire universe from the beautiful, historical, book-loving neighborhood of Reedville, the loveliest neighborhood in all of Boston. You know, here at Reading with Your Kids, our mission, it's all about connection. Connecting kids with books, families with each other, and communities through the power of story. Every episode, we're joined by incredible creators whose work is lighting up kids' lives. Please help us spread the word about our mission by telling all of your family and friends about the show and letting them know that they can hear us on the WREB AM/FM 24/7 radio network. And they can find us on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Podcast Addict, YouTube, Amazon Music, Audible, CastBox. Wherever you find your favorite shows, you can find Reading with Your Kids. Really wonderful, laugh-filled show for you today. First up, Ana Karina de Silva is here to celebrate Pedro's dreams. And later in the show, Joyce Fitt joins us to celebrate Are You Ready for Us? Before we invite Ana into the studio, we want to let you know we have a brand new Reading with Your Kids certified great read, Escape Peas, written by Dr. Sam and J.L. McCready. This is a creative adventure that teaches kids never to give up. Escape Peas is one of those rare picture books that entertains kids while quietly teaching an important life lesson. The premise is wonderfully original. A crew of highly advanced space peas crash lands on Earth after a disastrous journey through space. Instead of panicking, they rely on teamwork, creativity, and persistence as they search for a way home. Kids will love the colorful illustrations, funny characters, and endless pea puns. Adults will appreciate the message beneath the humor. Every obstacle becomes an opportunity to solve a problem rather than give up. Our team especially loved how each character has a unique personality, making every page fun to explore during repeated readings. The educational material at the end, including pea facts and a vocabulary glossary, is an added bonus for parents and teachers. If you're looking for a read aloud that's funny, imaginative, and encouraging resilience, Escape Peas is an excellent choice. Get your copy today. Escape Peas, our latest Reading with Your Kids certified great read. I am really looking forward to this conversation. Our guest is here today to celebrate. Her new picture book is called Pedro's Dream. Please welcome to the show, Ana Karina de Silva. Ana, how are you?
Thank you so much. I'm great. I'm very happy to be here. I see that you have a Colombia shirt, and I'm intrigued.
It was one of my dear friends just got back from Colombia. She was down there. She is originally from Colombia, so she went down to visit some family, and she brought me back this T-shirt. And
Great.
Evidently, when she bought the T-shirt at the store, the people at the store said, "Oh yes, your friend will love that. It's very lovely. It looks great on a woman." And my friend said, "Oh, it's for a guy." And the people in Colombia going, "It's too colorful for a guy. A guy will never wear that." And she said, "No, my friend will," and she was absolutely right.
I'm glad that you surprised our Colombian masculine men.
Anyways, tell us about Pedro's Dream.
Well, Pedro was born because I work with neurodivergent students, and I love soccer. I grew up watching soccer. My parents are from Madeira, from Portugal, from the same island where Cristiano Ronaldo was born. So I grew up with, the screaming in front of the TV, screaming at the referee. Like, there was a lot of passion at home. And I think that a lot of kids wants to be a soccer player. So I thought this would be the great time to launch the book. So Pedro's Dream came to life this year, right by the World Cup.
Excellent. Very good. Very good. Now, you were mentioning that you're working with kids who are neurodivergent. What's the connection between soccer and neurodivergence?
So, I mean, any brain, they have a brain, neurodivergent brains when we get passionate about something, it can be anything, right? In this case, it was soccer. There's nothing particularly related to neurodivergency, but the character Pedro, he finds some, challenges as he goes through, his practices. He forgets his cleats. So he starts learning how to best support his brain, but he doesn't know it until, his dad tells him that he also has ADHD. So dad says, I have ADHD. And the kid is like, but dad, you are a neurosurgeon. You have to stay still. So Pedro is like, okay, if my dad could make it, then I can become a great soccer player. So he starts learning checklists are very useful. And he asked the teacher, the coach, to allow him to see explanations visually, because visual cues are very good for our brains, instead of just talking about those, explanations. And yeah, there are other things that Pedro discovers in the book that is good for his brain. So that's how he achieves his dream of becoming a soccer player.
Wonderful. If I heard you right, one of the things that Pedro does is he learns how to advocate for himself and telling his teacher what works best for him.
Correct.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know at the beginning. So in my case, I didn't know I had ADHD until, a few years ago in my 30s. And I didn't know certain problems happen because of my brain, but we had a lot of conflict at home because my mom would think that I was forgetful or I wasn't on top of my stuff, but it's just my brain that doesn't have enough dopamine to finish a task. So when I learned that, I was like, okay, what things can I do to give myself more dopamine to finish a task? So for example, laundry for me is the worst thing ever. So I had to call a friend. So during that hour, I have to call my friend who gives me the enough dopamine I need to finish that task. Or maybe listening to a podcast like yours, or maybe listening to music. So I started, learning about dopamine hits for my brain. And that's how I was able to go through. So Pedro has some of that wisdom. That's why I wrote the book. So some parents learn about it because we don't know what we don't know. We think that we are just very creative and we are all over the place, but that's actually what it means to have a neurodivergent brain.
Yeah. Well, I really do love that because I think for a long time, we classified kids who were different, who thought differently as having a learning disability. And we treated it like it was something that needed to be fixed as opposed to something that just needs some support and some accommodations. And I love that this book is letting kids know that, hey, you're different. That's cool. Nothing wrong with that. That's cool. Here's some things that can help you succeed. Here, you want to be a soccer player? Here are a couple of things so you don't show up at the pitch without shoes.
Correct. And also, I've been learning as I'm working with kids in schools that the difference if it's ADHD, dyslexia, autism, the difference is made when they are children. So the more support, the more therapy, the more hours we learn how to support them, it will make such a big difference when they grow up. Because it can make a difference of having an independent adult from not having an independent adult. So that's why I think it's key to have these conversations now while we discover the kids. Because some parents, obviously, I understand it might be overwhelming to even think about it or accept it. But if the quicker we learn about it and accept it, the quicker we can help them and give them the support they need.
Yeah. So obviously, Pedro's Dream would be a fantastic book for a kid, for a kid who loves soccer, but also for a kid who might be struggling because they are thinking a little bit different. Their brain's wired a little bit different. And it's, we love the fact that books can be mirrors, windows, and sliding glass doors, and so kids can see themselves represented. But I love that books can be a window, and it can let other kids look in and learn a little bit about one of their classmates, one of their human brothers and sisters.
Yes. And I do stand-up comedy. So the book has a lot of little jokes for the parents because the parents are doing a lot of the work. So I want them to, when they're at home reading to their kids, if the kid is too small, that they also smile and have fun and kind of see themselves too. So that's definitely there. It's a very funny, it has funny things like, for example, my mom, she doesn't know about soccer. So she will ask us all these questions. And I remember that my mom will sit with us in the TV and she will see all of the drama because some players pretend that they have been hit and then they are doing this dramatic act. And then my mom is like, I don't have time for this. I'll just go and clean their bathroom. You know, like she will see this as another telenovela, as another soap opera. So I definitely portray that in the book. Obviously that's tied to my childhood and every childhood is different, but I wanted to make it as light as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I'm imagining somebody watching. That's a lot of my friends who didn't play soccer, are interested in the World Cup this year. And so they're reaching out to me and they're thinking, and they're all saying the same thing. Man, these guys flop all over the place. And, the wind blows and you're rolling 50 yards down the field.
They are very good actors. And I'm going to say something that is a hot take, but I do miss Italy in this World Cup because they are the kings of performative fouls. They're so dramatic. I miss them. In the field. And one of the characters, well, it's not a character, but one time when I portray one of the players kind of like trying to trick the referee, he's wearing a blue shirt. So it refers to the Italians. Because they're very dramatic. But I feel like it's not only Italy. Everybody in the World Cup has had their share of drama.
Oh yeah. Yes. And boy, there is more pulling of the shirts and the pants and all this other stuff. The people come, my beautiful wife, she saw me. The last soccer game I played in, I was in my 50s and it was an alumni game at our high school. And the only people who showed up for the game were the 50-year-olds who played a long time ago and the kids who had just got out of college. And so I'm playing against this 20-year-old and he's running me up and down the field. And at one point he started running and I just grabbed his shirt and I'm going, nah, you ain't, no, I'm not, I'm tired of chasing you, and just held him. And my wife saw it and ever since then, she's like going, you're such a dirty player. You're terrible. You cheat. And so now I can look, I'm just like the World Cup
Exactly. I think it's part of the game. And I don't know if you have noticed this. I'm sure you did because you're a grown up. I'm a grown up too, but I noticed this year how aggressive soccer is, how body, there's a lot of strength and it's almost like a war, like they're pulling each other. And I don't know if it's something that I notice now because it's, we have the VAR, we have all of these tools to see the game. But I notice how involved and how physical it is more than being an athlete. There's this pull and, push and press. And it's so nice to see them give everything. It's a labor. It's an act of labor. I love it.
Yeah. I noticed you referred to the video assistant referee, the VAR. It's pronounced a new way now.
VAR?
No, it's VA Argentina.
No, that's hilarious. Oh man. Do you think they're going to win?
I'm rooting for Spain. Of course, people will hear this after the finals, coming this Sunday. I'm real excited about it. I'm rooting for Spain. I'm traveling to Spain in April, so that's my team. Even though I did root for Messi and Argentina at the last World Cup, but I have a reason. I have a heart choice for Spain this year.
Okay, they beat Portugal, but I'm still I think they should win. But I don't know. Messi is a good player, and the whole team plays for Messi, so it's a good strategy.
They certainly do. They certainly do. England made a mistake sitting back and playing defense yesterday.
Yes.
So tell me, you mentioned that you do stand-up comedy. I did educational magic shows for 35 years. There was only one time I came close to stand-up comedy. I was performing at a fraternal organization, guys club, but they were having a Christmas party. And I came in and I sat up and the kids are all excited. And the person who hired me came up and he said, hey, listen, I know we said we'd pay you X, but I don't have that much. I only have a quarter of that. So here. So I had a choice of taking the money or packing up in front of all these kids and leaving. So I took the money, and so it's kind of grumpy. I started the show, and there was this one gentleman at the bar who at 12 o'clock in the afternoon had too much to drink and was heckling. And
you had a heckler.
I tore him a new one. Nothing dirty, everything was appropriate, but it was just responding to him. And people came up to me afterwards and they said, you were great. Had no idea you were a stand-up comedian. You'd be great at that. And I said, I don't ever want to do that again.
How was being a magician? Did you stop?
It's awesome. It's just awesome.
It must be a different art form, because are you expressing yourself? Like, tell me. It's so interesting.
Well, yeah. Performing for kids, I came out of the clown world. I started performing as a clown, doing a lot of slapstick comedy. Wasn't appreciated that much. The kids loved it, but the people who hired me weren't big fans of it. So I kind of transitioned into magic. Penn and Teller, had a chance to meet with Penn and Teller, and Teller gave me some amazing advice that really allowed me to bring something into my show that just changed people's perception of what I was doing. And so that was fun. But magic, one of the things I learned was that magic is storytelling. The moment of magic is a second. It's like you got one ball in your hand, right? Open up your hand. Oh, there's two. And that's great, but that's a second. But if you're telling a story as you're setting up the trick, so that for me was,
that's amazing.
Yeah, that's why I fell in love with it. A great example, there's a classic trick in magic. It's called the egg bag, where the bag seems empty, but there's an egg appears out of nowhere. And there's this one particular one. I was at a magic shop in Washington, D.C., and they had a very different style where the front of the bag was mesh. And so you could actually see the egg, boom, drop into the bag magically. Okay. And most people, when they do this trick, it's kind of like a sucker trick. The person's up on stage, and where's the egg? Well, the egg is in the bag. No, it's not in the bag. See, it's empty. And the person goes, yeah, the bag is empty. And then it's like, oh no, there's the egg. And that's not something that I'm interested in. But I saw this gentleman at the magic shop. He demonstrated it. When I saw that egg appear to go in the bag, I said, I know exactly how I'm going to do this. Oh, so wow. I went out and I would bring a kid up on stage, usually a tiny kid, and I would say, I put an invisible egg over your head. Do you see it there? No. Reach up, pull it down, feel it in your hand. Don't break it. Feel it in your hand. Now, if you really believe you have an egg inside your hand, you're going to be able to throw it up in the air and have it land inside this bag. And, oh, wait. I'm going to ask everybody here who loves you and cares about you to count to 3. And when you get to 3, that's when you throw it. So the people would do it, and the kid would throw it. I'd mime. I'd look up in the air, and as I looked down towards the bag, the egg would appear, and everybody in the audience would see it, and they'd go crazy. And it gave me the chance to say, this is incredible. You made the egg appear. But do you know what was even more incredible? I asked the people here who loved you to count to 3. Did you hear how many people were counting? Do you realize how many people love you and care about you?
Wow.
And that's so
amazing. It's different from comedy. So I started doing comedy in Chicago.
Yep.
And then I decided to move to New York City to do more of that. And after launching my children's book, the first one, Emma's Dream, I realized that some kids needed some support to realize their dreams. And I came up with this curriculum that I'm starting to put in schools. And now I'm teaching comedy to kids in the spectrum. And it's so interesting because they struggle with big feelings. So they might feel like they don't know what is going on. So it's similar to when you have a panic attack or an anxiety attack that you don't know what's going on and you're like, what the hell is happening? And you think you're going to die. So these kids are having these meltdowns throughout the day. So stand-up comedy kind of helps them see a little bit of their feelings through writing. So today, for example, I went to a class in Rockaway, a school in Rockaway, and we were learning how to do exaggerations, how to make something funny through exaggeration. So there was a man that was so tall that when he drank milk, it got to the stomach and expired. It got to the so the kids were like, "Oh my God, that's so funny!" And then you will see them like losing it because it's like, "Oh my God, that's funny." But some of them don't get it, right? Because they also miss some social cues. So we explain to them, and they're like, "Oh," then they understand, and then get them to see that the funny is not always being perfect, but being truth or being vulnerable. Because at the beginning they were kind of like, I don't want to be silly in front of my teammates. But then they see me being silly. They're like, okay, I can be silly. So we wrote the jokes all together. And then at the end of the class, they came up to share their 3 exaggerations. And it was such a good exercise for them. And they were very nervous. And I said, I'm nervous every time I go on stage. That's completely normal and it never goes away. So it's very nice to see them, how their confidence builds and how they start having a sense of self-identity. It gives them confidence. It gives them a lot of tools that I learned when I started doing comedy.
Great. That's wonderful. That's really
It's very nice.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
And we had a kid, we hosted a young magicians group at our church for a number of years. And there was this one young man who came in and was very much on the spectrum and was nearly incommunicative. You know, had a very difficult time speaking to anybody. Now he is making a living doing magic.
Really?
He is. Yes, he's fantastic.
Oh my God, that's such a good example.
Yeah. Talk about turning his life around. It's really amazing.
That's awesome. Also, music helps. Joining a choir is very helpful for kids in the spectrum. There are many, many ways that, we can support them. And I have a theory. I don't know what you think about this, but I feel like their generation, I'm a millennial, and I know a lot of people with ADHD. And now kids are, it's more common to hear that there are more autistic kids. So I think that it might be an evolution of our brain to the times that we're living. Because back in the day, I don't know how many people were diagnosed. Maybe there was less diagnosis. But I don't know if it's a coincidence that our brains are made to make decisions quicker and have multitasking because there is this technology that is giving us so much stimuli, so much information that back in the day we didn't have. So I think it might be part of the evolution of the brain. But again, I'm not an expert. I'm just a neurodivergent author and comedian. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, it's funny. It's something that that had occurred to me. And because you mentioned how many, I'm almost 100. There was no one labeled autistic when I was in school. As I look back, there were definitely a couple of kids who would be on the spectrum, but there was no diagnosis back then. I know from the time I was working in social work coming out of college is when I met my first people who were labeled as being on the spectrum. And those people were very different. You know, they weren't able to communicate and they needed round the clock support. You know, now I think it's 1 in 34 boys or 1 in 23 boys are on the spectrum. So is that because we're doing a better job diagnosing it, or are there more kids? I don't know. I'm just a dopey guy on the radio, but the idea that we may be evolving, I've also heard people who are on the spectrum get very angry when they hear that. It's like, no, we're just
Oh, really?
people.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with having a conversation. It's not like you're sitting down going, you're neurodivergent, you're a mutant. You know, you're like, hey, is this an evolution? Because one thing is for sure, our schools are going to have to evolve in the age of AI. The idea that we're going to have kids sit down in kindergarten, and in rows and learn how to sit at a desk all day and do a task, which is what school is, so you can go and work in an office. That's not going to be needed anymore. What we need is schools and experiences that encourage kids to be creative, to be curious. And I think that's one of the things that's what stand-up comedy is about. Let me look at this thing. Let me see I'm curious what could be funny about this situation. Same as magic. Oh, I get this thing and I get this thing that can make it look like an egg appeared from out of no. How can I use that to make somebody feel good? You know?
The program, sorry.
No, go right ahead. I was just babbling.
The program it's called Emma's Dream. So after the book, I came up with an idea, and then I work with psychologists to be able to see how this curriculum could fit in the school. So we do exactly what you're saying, is about exposing kids to different role plays and see what is the strength, what is the main natural talent that these kids have to be able to nurture that. Because obviously we focus more on the deficit, but there are a few programs that actually focus on the strength. So if we know that this kid have this strength, maybe this kid could be great with pattern recognition. Maybe this kid is not very good with social, like talking, communication, but this kid is wonderful with pattern recognition. He can be an amazing engineer. He can be an amazing, data analyst. Like, there's so many ways that we can allow this kid to flourish. And the earlier that we know, the more we can nurture. And obviously skills are learned over time, but it's always good to know what comes naturally for the kid. So that's what we do. We expose them to different scenarios, doing a lot of improvisation. So the classes mixes a lot of improvisation and other activities to expose them. And then at the end of the classes, we say, hey, parents, we give them a workshop about neurodivergency, and then we tell them, this is what we saw in your kid, and maybe this could be a good way to, give them more Legos or puzzles, because he's very good with data pattern recognition. So that's what the program does, and it definitely helps them see the kids in another light, right? So, and the kids also see themselves in another light. They get more confident about, it's like when you get to know yourself, right? Like when you go to therapy and you learn why you do the things you do. It's something like that for kids. This is something I wish I had when I was a kid, honestly. So it's very helpful for the kids.
Well, I'm delighted that you are creating this for kids. I think it's really needed. And I'm curious, did you always know that you wanted to grow up to be a stand-up comedian, someone who writes kids' books, someone who is advocating for kids?
No, my go-to when I was a little girl, the things that I will do by myself was to put all of my plushie toys in front of me, and I will present to them cable plans. So my cable, I will sell cable to plushie toys. That's something that I did when I was a kid, and I loved it. And when I don't remember exactly what I wanted to be when I grew up. My mom told me that there was a phase that I wanted to be a doctor, but then I saw doctors having a strike on the TV. And I asked, Mom, why are they striking? And my mom said, they are not making enough money. And I said, I don't want that then.
You thought there'd be more money in selling cable TV?
I always liked presenting, and I always loved jokes. I was the clown of the class. My cousins, we were always making jokes and messing around. So the comedy was always in my family. We are very funny people. And when I was, when you have to make the decision on what to do in college, my principal, she said, what is your options? What are your options? And I said, I want to study philosophy. And she's like, philosophy? Do you want to be a professor? And I'm like, no. She's like, what is your second choice? And my best friend said, you should be a copywriter in advertising, because in advertising, you basically do exactly what we do in class, coming up with jokes and singing and coming up with taglines. So I went and I did copywriting for 15 years until I wrote my first book, and I worked with kids, and I felt this bug of helping kids. And now advertising is kind of on the background. Now I want to help kids.
That's wonderful. I love that. I really love that. So, and is there another book coming soon?
Well, I mean, this just
I know, it just
out.
came in the world, yeah.
It just came out. Emma's Dream was the first one 4 years ago, and Pedro's Dream. Something that is coming out is a series of Instagram stories for, I just froze my eggs. So I'm doing a comedy series about egg freezing.
Oh, okay.
And this is something I'm writing, so I need to focus on that. But when it comes for children, I will definitely write more books. And I illustrated this using Midjourney. Have you heard of Midjourney?
I have not.
Midjourney is an AI tool to illustrate.
Okay.
So I thought that it would be super fast because it's AI, but it took me a whole month and 10 hours per day to prompt and do exactly what I wanted. So it's a lot of work, and the ideas, this idea came a year and a half ago, and I decided to launch it during the World Cup. But yeah, I don't know what the next book is going to be, but I think it might be coming up after the egg freezing process.
Okay.
Because I'm coming up with jokes for that and some stand-up comedy. So
I can see, a little kid wearing a coat all the time in the summertime because he was frozen as an egg. I don't know. I'm not.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, maybe the next book is how do you say in vitro kid?
In vitro kid.
Maybe the next book is for the in vitro kids.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. There is a joke about this comedian. There is a comedian that went viral saying that he bought a diamond ring, a lab-grown diamond ring to his fiance, and people were talking bad about that. He was like, "But why do you criticize a diamond that was grown in a lab? Do you ever criticize a kid that was born in a lab? Like when the kid comes to life, you'll be like, no, that was lab grown, and you will reject the kid? No. Why would people judge people for buying lab grown diamonds? It was funny.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Listen, Ana, I'm curious. My team has instructed me. Obviously, I don't use a set of prepared questions, and I just love to have a conversation. But my team of interns suggested that I end some interviews with this question.
Okay.
What would you love a kid to hear tonight as they're going to bed from an adult that loves them?
Great question. That anything that he wants to be and anything that he is, he will be loved unconditionally. I know that's a big word for a kid, but whatever you are, I love you. whatever you become, I love you. Whatever you do today, I love you. There's no conditions.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's tell everybody where they can go to find out more about Pedro's dreams and find out more about you.
Pedro's Dream is on Amazon. Look up Pedro's Dream by Ana Karina de Silva, because there is a lot of books called Pedro's Dream. I didn't know. And yeah, leave a review. And I'm on Instagram. Ana Karina exists. Like I just exist. Ana Karina exists. So you can follow my comedy in New York City and all of the adventures. I just met 2 soccer players from Portugal last week. So that was very interesting, very, very exciting to give them Pedro's Dream. So that's on Instagram. So you can follow my adventures, meeting all of these YouTubers and all of these celebrities. It's fun.
Wonderful. We've had a really fun time speaking to the author of Pedro's Dreams. It's the brand new book from our guest, Ana Karina de Silva. Ana, thanks so much for being with us.
I love that pronunciation. You're great.
I try.
Thank you, Jed. Am I saying that right? Jed.
You're saying that right, yeah.
Jed. And I really enjoy your shirt. I'm from Venezuela, but I really like your shirt. It's great.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
This episode of Reading with Your Kids is brought to you by Fart Boy and Reeky Dog, Dino Doom. Fantastic new graphic novel written by New York Times bestselling author Joan Holub, who's written over 200 amazing books for kids. It's school sleepover at the museum. What could go wrong? Well, how about this? A snack-fueled explosion of garbanzo beans and peanuts unleashes a stink so powerful it brings the dinosaurs back to life. Now, Fart Boy, Reeky Dog, and their friends are in the middle of a dino-sized disaster. They have to solve tricky riddles, find missing bones, and stop the stinkiest villain of all, Professor Gravy Pants. Because if they don't, the dinosaurs could take over. Or worse, they could become Dino Dinner. This action-packed graphic novel is bursting with friendships, adventure, and enough laughs to shake the museum walls. If your kids love superheroes, if they love dinosaurs, and if they love to laugh until they can't breathe, then Fart Boy and Reeky Dog Dino Doom is the book for you. Because sometimes the power to save the world comes from the unlikeliest place. Grab your copy today and get ready for a reading adventure that's truly dynamite. Hey, this is a message for all the authors that are listening. You know, you worked hard on your book. You spent months, maybe years, writing, revising, dreaming, and believing. You created characters, solved problems, overcame doubts, and brought a story into the world that only you could tell. Now it's time to help readers discover it. The Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read program was created to celebrate outstanding children's books and to help authors reach more families. When a book earns our seal of approval, we don't stop with an award certificate. We review the book, feature it on the podcast, share it across social media, and help introduce it to parents, teachers, librarians, and caregivers who are looking for great books to share with kids. Because your story matters. And the families who need your story deserve a chance to find it. Please visit readingwithyourkids.com and click the Authors Click Here button at the top of the page to learn more. That's readingwithyourkids.com. Let your book find the readers it was written for. Joining us from the beautiful city of Toronto in Ontario, Canada, our guest is here today to celebrate. Her book is called Are You Ready for Us? I hope we're ready for our guest. Please welcome to the show, Joyce Fitt. Joyce, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Jed. Nice to meet you, see you, and be on your show. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you and what you do.
Thank you very much. Joyce, tell us, you started to tell me before we hit record about you and your life. You were telling me that you are in Canada now after fleeing a civil war in Lebanon.
That's correct. We came in 76, and the beginning of a whole new life began for us, where I would wake up knowing that I'm not waking up to bombs and guns and maybe my parents being taken away. So it took some time, but it also left a lot of kind of psychological effects on me, which I kept hidden, back in, when I was younger, a new country, you didn't really want to speak about it. We were just grateful to be here, and that's it. And we went through some times, and I always felt like children need a voice. I felt like even though I had a lovely family and caring, nobody really asked me how I felt and, what I needed and what I wanted. And for that, I've always dreamt to have a talk show, a series of books, something where the voices of children can be heard, rather than the voices of adults of what they think the child wants. So this book, Are You Ready For Us, was kind of a fun book to write. I believe it's only 34 pages. And it's basically narrated by Spermio and Agatha, Spermio being daddy's little fishy and Agatha being mom's ova. And they basically are running through the three important, what we think is the basic steps. And that is preconception health, just making sure your body is ready for it. Just encouraging people to go check it out. Lots of things can affect. I know a friend of mine was on had thyroid issues, and was on a medication and really needed months to stop before she could conceive. So those are important things to know. Financial health, that's a huge one in today's time. We're no longer the society where, you can run to your neighbors, your family's available, everybody works full time till retirement, so it's very hard. You need to be able to financially take care of things. And finally, the mental health, having a child can take a lot from your mind, and it's just bringing awareness. That's it. It's fun. It's encouraging, to put Spermio and Agatha together because they really want to get together. However, just take that time and think it through.
Yeah. So this is really a book not a book that we're going to necessarily read to our kids, but a book that we're going to read before we welcome kids into the world.
That's exactly it. We've sent them out to newlyweds. We've sent them out to some libraries. There's a few more places that I'd like to see them. And again, bringing awareness is such an important, like yourself, bringing awareness to the importance of reading with your child is not just teaching your child how to read. It's a bond. It's bringing them together and laughing or crying and being able to express yourself. And this is a different way to express yourself.
Yeah.
I am working on another book called So You Want to Get a Divorce. And it's not, not meant to be controversial in any way. It is just the child saying, hey, keep trying. However, if you can't, please, we don't want to feel it. We don't want to cry. We don't want to be scared. Because that's all what it's about. I've been there in many situations, and I've just always felt like, hey, can somebody speak up for me, please? Can somebody help me? So maybe this is a fun, unique way to bring attention to certain things.
Yeah.
When it's coming from a child, it's a lot more effective, I feel.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate the fact that you've created this book to give aspiring parents, and that's the best kind of parents, as parents who are wanting to welcome a child into the world and are thoughtful and mindful about it and aware of all, because it's a joyful thing. It's the best thing I ever did in my life. It's also the hardest thing I ever did in my life.
Absolutely. And it is the most difficult job. It is a job full of love and full of all kinds, and we're learning too. Mm-hmm. Even if it's your second, I've got 2 daughters, beautiful girls. It's work. It's nonstop work, and it's not just from beginning. So this is just a little eye opener to say, for your own self, for your own sake, for your own life. It's time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think one of the things that your book is probably going to do is to inspire aspiring parents to sit down and say, okay, we got the daycare, we got the money, situation. We're thinking about all these things. So once the baby gets here, what's it going to be? You know, back in the day, Dad went off to work and Mom took care of everything to have to do with the kid. We don't do that. Oh, we shouldn't be doing that anymore. And we should talk about what we expect of each other.
Exactly. We don't do it because we can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference, I think. There was a time we had a choice. Now, you know, you want the house, the mortgage, the vacations. You know, the average family needs to plan, and it has effect on kids in many ways. You know, if you're not prepared, at least initially, we don't know what happens throughout the years, and we have to handle that. But at least initially, sit down. It's, you know, I think it's a little bit of you know, everybody feels after a couple of years they need to have kids. Well, take some time. You know, take some time, because I speak upon for the kids, and a child wants to come into a happy world with a happy environment. And that's where I'm at. That's how I feel with this book. It's a beautiful little book. It's cute. It's got lots of wonderful illustrations and fun, a little bit funny. Yeah, it's a fun book.
It's interesting. You know, this is a very unique approach to kind of, reach people before they become parents through the medium that we all associate with kids. You know, what was the inspiration? What the idea to kind of create almost a picture book for aspiring parents?
As I said, I always felt like I wanted, you know, I was screaming, but nobody was listening, and I wanted to tell them what I need, and I think that's what it is. I sometimes felt like a little bit desperate to have a voice as a child, and how effective it is when a child is saying, please, you know, think of me, think of us. And I think it's a great way to, I hope it's a great approach to these sort of things.
Mm-hmm. Now, has the book been released into the world yet?
So it is on Amazon. We've released it. Haven't done much marketing. I've had a whole bunch of friends and family and coworkers read it. Everybody just, you know, like I said, you can read it in half an hour. It's just a fun book to read, like a little reference book, like a map book, I think they call them sometimes. Yeah. You know, and it just, you know, just points things out that are very necessary. Sometimes we don't want to, you know, we don't want the whole picture, but this will give you pretty much the whole picture. And it, like I said, being narrated by Spermio and Agatha, you know, they let them tell you what they need and what they would like. But having a child is the most beautiful experience. It is really what love is all about. I always say there's only one unconditional love in this world, and that is a parent to a child, a love with no condition. I cannot think of another type of love. A parent to a child is your child could do anything. And whether you agree or not, in the end, our hearts will love them no matter what.
Yeah. Have you always aspired to be an author, Joyce?
I've never considered myself an author. Maybe we need another meeting, you and I. I originally started, my mom founded a private school many years ago, 50 years ago now. When we first came, she was a teacher, and she always felt, hey, there's no private schools, there's no place for single moms, because my dad left us as well, which was, you know, an add-on. And, you know, she opened up a school in many years, and it's still running. My nephew runs it today. I helped run that school. So while I did that, I worked with kids. I created Miss Joyce's musical classroom CD. I write a lot of songs. I don't sing. I write songs that are educational. So this CD became a bit of a hit many years ago, 2007, I believe it was released. So quite some time. And one of the bragging rights it gave me was one of the songs called 26 Letters of the Alphabet was used in a movie. And I always say that gave me the bragging rights. It was a movie called Splice. They messaged me and said, can we with Adrian Brody and Sarah Polly, science fiction, nothing to do with kids. I was like, sure, no problem. Take the song. But again, I always thought of ways like 26 letters of the alphabet. Everybody knows A, B, C, D, E, F, G, the song.
Uh-huh.
There's no song that is written to tell kids we have 26 letters of the alphabet in the alphabet. So I always kind of, when they say think outside the box, I always kept thinking inside the box, right? Because sometimes outside the box is not for me. And I thought, hey, a lot of kids, you start with a foundation. Everything has a foundation. Reading starts with 26 letters of the alphabet. That's it. Yeah. That's all we have. And with these letters, you put them together and you create words and sound. It's so cool. I love, so I've written songs about, nouns and verbs and the solar system. I've written songs, adding songs, multiplication. I have a song for every skip count, 2 times table, 3 times table. So I don't consider myself an author. I just enjoy writing. And yeah.
Well, the next question that comes is, now that you are a creative person, you've been writing songs, so obviously you know how to write in meter and rhythm. You took the chance to create Are You Ready for Us, to be the voice for kids to aspiring parents. What's holding you back from writing a book for kids?
I do. I have 3 of them right now. I have, which I completed, and really fun books. I have a book called Fall is Great. And the unique part of these books are there is a QR code that will take you into a read along. So you can read with your kids. And then at the end of the book, there's a QR code that takes you to a video of the song Fall is Great. So, maybe I'd be happy to send you some copies of these books just for your own reference.
That would be great.
Library. Yeah.
Let's tell everybody where they can go to find out more about Are You Ready for Us, your music, and your kids' books.
Okay. Well, I do have Amazon, and I'm not. Oh, did I lose you there, Jen?
No, we're still here, Joyce.
Okay. Amazon, J Grace, I go under a middle name Grace, J Grace. Are You Ready for Us? I'm not really sure exactly, the website. I guess I should have been more prepared. However, just J Grace, Are You Ready for Us? It should pop up, and other books should come in. Fall is Great, Mary and Her Little Lammy, and then there is Old MacDonald and a Special Farm. All 3 of those books have QR codes for read along, and then a video after with a sing along attached to it.
Wonderful.
So really fun books. That's correct. Yeah.
We've had a great time speaking to the author of Are You Ready for Us? It is a book for aspiring parents. Joyce, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you, Jed. Very, very, very nice to be on the podcast and to meet you and speak with you about this.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Reading with Your Kids, and will join us for the next exciting episode of the show. If this episode made you smile or gave you something to think about, please consider sharing a link to the show with someone you love. Leave a 5-star review, and of course, subscribe to the show wherever you find your favorite shows. Authors, please be sure to visit readingwithyourkids.com. Learn how you can be a guest here on the podcast and tell thousands of Kit Lit fans all over the world about your fantastic children's book. I want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful, starting with our guest, Ana Karina de Silva. Please be sure to check out Pedro's Dream. Also want to thank Joyce Fit. Please be sure to check out Are You Ready for Us? I want to thank my incredible team, Ella Badier, Daylene Rose Advina Lopez, Chris Doherty. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the love and support she gives me. Most of all, we want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better place. And you do that every single time you read with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next episode of Reading with Your Kids.
Escapees. What's that giant furry thing? Does it bark? Does it sing? What's that shadow? Run, run, run! Being tiny isn't fun. Sticky mud, slippery trail. Every single crazy fail. Still we smile, still we cheer. Home is somewhere, maybe here. Escapees, tiny heroes, big ideas. Escapees, laughing louder than our fears. Think Bill Bills, grow. Nobody said we had to know. Left, right, round we go. Everybody, go, go, go. If plan A goes explode, then it's time to reboot. If plan B falls kerplunk, we'll invent another hunk of crazy, wonderful fun. Until the job gets done. Escapees. Nothing's gonna stop our dreams. Escapees. Even when it isn't what it seems. Work together. Never quit. One more try. That's the trick. Home's not always where you planned. Sometimes it's where you stand. Hey! Escapees.